And we're recording.
Okay. So, hello everyone, and Happy New Year from AfroFin Lab. Welcome to episode 22 of the AfroFin Lab podcast, where we aim to make this crypto nonsense make sense. I'm Aziz Saeed, and I'll be today's host. This week's visitor and expert is Victor from the Cardano Foundation. He is the Cardano Foundation's first Africa-based team member. His job involves developing marketing copy, content, and campaigns to improve brand awareness and educate Cardano's audience as the foundation pursues one of its core missions of driving adoption of Cardano. Welcome to the AfroFin Lab, Victor. We're very happy to have you here today.
Thanks, Aziz. It's nice to be on the show. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, friend.
Welcome.
Okay, so typically we would have a referee to help us decrypt this crypto nonsense. Now, one of our referees is currently having technical difficulties, so he may be able to make it into the show later on. I'll introduce him now, and hopefully he can make it into the show. His name is Darlington, and he's a photographer based in Delta State, Nigeria. So the role of the referee is to quote unquote ask the dumb questions, the questions that people sometimes are scared to ask when they're coming into this ecosystem in fear of looking dumb. But here at the AfroFin Lab, there are no dumb questions because we are here to help the newcomers into the crypto space. So I'm going to anyways lay down the, as I like to call them, the lab rules for our audience. And so how it's going to go is that the show will commence with discussion for about 45 minutes. And then at any point, people can feel free to intervene if anything doesn't make sense as Victor is opening us up to his world. And then at the end of the discussion for 45 minutes, we will have about 15 minutes of questions and answers from the audience. So let's get into it. Victor, I'm curious, how did you let the audience know? How did you end up in the blockchain ecosystem? How did you end up working at Cardano?
All right, thank you. It's actually a long story, but I'll probably just cut it back to start from 2015. So at that point, I was working in a PR and marketing agency based in Israel called Market Across. And that agency was focused on providing marketing and promotional services for financial services companies and startups specifically, and of course to other industries. And so when Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain started becoming like the popular thing, we started getting a number of inbound requests from companies in this space needing crypto, blockchain, marketing, resources and all of that. And so I was actively working on that desk. And I did that for 3 years and 5 months. I mean, got super involved in it, a whole lot of different projects, and it blew my mind. And 2017, Charles and a couple other guys in IHK were going to Tel Aviv, Israel for a meetup. It was a Cardano meetup. And that was the first time I heard about the Cardano project. And so I started following up the project since that time. And after I left the agency in Israel, I wanted to run a blockchain startup here in Nigeria that we were focused on trying to leverage blockchain to solve the energy problem. And we did a whole lot of work in that period. We got some traction, but it was way ahead of its time. We spent most of our time actually educating the markets rather than selling any energy, because I mean nobody knew what we were trying to do. So it started from actually trying to tell people what we're trying to do. And at the point we had to ask ourselves if we were a blockchain energy company or a blockchain education company. So I mean, after about a year and a few months, I left that project, and then I took some time off, and then I found a company in Finland that was into artificial intelligence. I think my superpower is essentially taking complexities and simplifying them. So I joined this artificial intelligence company in Finland. But I mean, blockchain was still top of my mind, crypto was still top of my mind. And several months down the road, I found that there was an opening at the Cardano Foundation for a copywriter. And I mean, I've been doing marketing for blockchain industry, been following the Cardano story, and honestly, I felt this is my opportunity to make a difference. So I reached out with my application, and then the interview process got started, and I'm happy to say I made it through, and here I am, 7 months down the road, and it's been an awesome ride so far.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Honestly, I think it's quite incredible how you're somebody who maybe not necessarily was directly working in the blockchain ecosystem beforehand, because the reality is the blockchain ecosystem it's new, although it's around like 10, 12 years now, it is still new, and you found a space for yourself here, and you're enjoying it. You're taking the bull by the horns, and you're passionate about it. That's amazing to see. And I'm curious now, you mentioned that you were working trying to develop a energy company, or am I right, within the blockchain ecosystem, and you ended up having to, I guess, teach people about blockchain technology. So my question is then, what were you trying to do with the energy company? What was the use case using blockchain technology there that you were trying to apply to the Nigeria ecosystem?
Okay, so at that point, I mean, Nigeria is in Africa, it's in sub-Saharan Africa, there's a lot of sunshine, and then we have a very bad electricity situation.
Sorry, Victor, you're lagging there. Just one moment, audience. Just our expert is having some technical difficulties.
It's always when somebody is saying the best stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of a great point. Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat for this one.
Guys,
We need Victor back. What's up, Josh?
bring Victor back.
Hello, I
Hey.
got cut off. What happened?
I'm not sure, but you're back now. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so I mean, I was talking about it. Most of the country running on dirty energy, diesel, petrol generators, and all of that. And at that point, I was thinking, why are we not using solar energy in Africa? I mean, we have all the sunshine. Why are we not using it in Nigeria specifically? We have all the sunshine and all of that. And then I discovered that people actually know the solar energy could probably work, but they don't trust the technology in itself, because many people have tried to buy solar panels and all of that, and maybe they bought substandard products, or the installation wasn't properly done, and then it didn't work out. And so there's always bad stories about, oh, solar energy is unreliable. So some people don't trust that technology. And then other people that probably trust it and will be willing to give it a try cannot afford to set it up upfront, like the cost of the solar panels and the batteries and all of that. So that was the main challenge why the country was not really adapting solar energy. And then, so why initially I was just talking to people about blockchain, what it could do. I wasn't even planning on building a blockchain startup or anything. I was just talking to people generally about how it could change the world and how I think it could actually help us leapfrog some of the challenges we are having in Nigeria and the African continent as a whole. And then I got in touch with this traditional, it's a green energy company, but they've been in the business for about 15 years before now. And so I got in touch with them, and they're like, okay, how can we implement blockchain into energy, into green energy? I was like, okay, there are things we could do. I mean, this is a problem I've observed, and if we could leverage blockchain to fill the funding gap, then I think we could actually make some difference. So if we de-risk the adoption for people, if people wouldn't trust the technology, you say, okay, try the technology, don't pay upfront for it. But you have the technology and it works for you, and then you pay over time for the energy, then it works. And so essentially, to bring it home, what we tried to do with blockchain technology was to de-risk the adoption of clean energy by leveraging blockchain to get people that were interested in funding clean energy projects in Africa, and then matching them with people that wanted to install clean energy solar panels to begin with in their homes, and then run the process through a blockchain system where it shows how much energy the solar panels are generating and how much of it is consumed on a decentralized network. So the investor who had funded the project can see actually that these solar panels are working, they're generating electricity, and the electricity are being consumed, and that removes the middleman. So the payment goes directly from the people that consume the energy on a pay-as-you-go basis directly to the investor using a sort of stable coin. in the mix to manage the volatility. But as I said, we spent much of our time educating people what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, what a stable coin is, and all of that. But yeah, that was the story. I mean, but it was really cool. I mean,
okay, I want to interject for a little bit. Okay, so you're in Nigeria, I'm in Nigeria. All the problems you face, I've actually gone through. I faced them as well, and I can actually understand what you're saying. I was watching I think the Continental Free Trade Summit in 2019, I think Davos, and the African Development Bank president, Mr. Adesina, I think, who was talking about like the three problems that SMEs, small, medium enterprises face, which has to do with number one, access to funding or finance, or access to power, electricity. And then we have the problem of political instability. So these are actually, this contribute to the problems that, sorry, give me a second. The problems that we face here in Africa. And it's really hard on small businesses, right? Because we don't have power, and these are infrastructure that the government only can actually make available for us seamlessly without us going, like small businesses. I don't have to be providing or outsourcing power for myself, right? This is something that the government is supposed to provide for me. And then as a small business, I'll find a way to actually pay for the power, not to provide power for my own self, right? So it's a common problem that we face as entrepreneurs in Africa. And now you're talking about how you can merge, provision of power and then, sorry, how you can merge provision of power and also run a business and make that even more affordable for people in Nigeria to actually use, and also power is a problem in Africa and also for Africa. In your mind, when you think about blockchain and power and small businesses, how do you actually fix that in your head? Because I don't know how the government wants to tackle that problem, but I want to understand like what you think about that dynamic.
I think the opportunity is still there. I mean, to be honest, and it's something I'm hoping I could, get involved with again somewhere down the road, or like, and I've been actually very open sharing my experience in that period with people that want to take up the challenge, because it's a challenge that needs to be solved. I think the government, it's doing what it can at the moment, but it can obviously do better. But I also think that private players in the space can actually come in and solve this problem. And one thing I used to say is that it's actually very hard to stand in the way of innovation. Innovation will find its way through. I mean, I'm not quite sure we're the first that try to solve the energy problem. Maybe we're the first to try and solve it leveraging blockchain, but other people have been trying to solve it, and other people will continue to try to solve it. And that problem will be solved. It's the human nature to solve problems. So in that point, I think what we tried to do different was to just, as I said, to de-risk it for people. So if people don't have to pay upfront, and let me bring it up. You probably understand, but I'll try and explain so you other guys understand, because it's kind of a Nigerian context. So the average Nigerian probably use a very small generator. We call it I better pass my neighbor. It's actually very small. It can't power like maybe your iron or microwave, but it can just give you enough electricity to power a TV, maybe your home theater, and lighting. That's all. And then that costs you about 1,000 naira of fuel, petrol every day to get about 7 hours of electricity. So in a month, you spend about 30,000 naira to get 7 hours of electricity per day, which is essentially 30,000 naira. I'm not sure if I'm
give or take $100. Let's just say give or take $100.
Yeah, per month. But the problem is, many people can afford to bring out $100 at the start of every month to pay for their electricity upfront. But they can't actually afford to pay 1,000 naira per day. So every evening, they go to the filling station and buy maybe 4 liters of petrol and put it in their generator and switch it on and run it for 7 hours till they sleep. And then they do the same thing tomorrow. So they can afford to pay 1,000 naira per day, but they can't afford to pay 30,000 naira on the go at the start of the month. So we're saying, if we can provide, and that's the same thing with solar panels. So people, if they can pay every day for the solar electricity, They can, but they can't gather the money to buy the solar panels once. So if we can find a way to show people that have the funds to deploy, and it's really crowd-funded fund, it's mass, so it doesn't have to be $1 million. You have $100, you have $200, and they will contribute all this to fund solar panels on somebody, to put solar panels on somebody's home. And this guy just pays every day for the electricity he consumes. It's just the same way he goes to buy 1,000 naira of petrol every day to power his diesel generator. Nothing is different about it, except that now the electricity is coming from a clean source other than dirty energy. So that's essentially what we were trying to do. And I think there is always different kinds of innovation. That was the innovation we tried to bring in. There are 1,000 other ways that this problem could be solved. And I think, like I said, it's the human nature to solve problems. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to figure out a way to solve that problem.
So are you done with power? Sorry, that's it.
Have there been any examples of maybe not necessarily that being executed with blockchain, but it just being executed in terms of someone, you know, gathering the capital to invest into solar energy, and there being an example to show people, look, solar power now works. I'm now able to pay a certain amount a month, and it's just as, it's maybe even cheaper than what we were already paying before.
I mean, I'm not quite sure specifically. I know there are some other projects that have this pay-as-you-go model and all of that. But sometimes, I mean, it works in East Africa. Actually, there's a lot of pay-as-you-go models for solar electricity that works in East Africa. But Nigeria is, I'm not quite sure how to present to give it a name. The kind of solar systems that you probably sell, Nigeria won't big things. So even though, so when you're talking to a guy that has a small generator that can just power its TV and his home theater and lighting, and you start talking to him about solar energy, the next thing he's asking is if it can power an air conditioner and a microwave and a washing machine. So to put it that way, the small systems that most businesses will want to deliver are really not the systems that many Nigerians want, because of so people want the bigger version ones, but the bigger version ones are going to cost a whole lot of money, and then there is now the risk to the investor. So if I put all this system in your house and you don't pay, what happens? What am I going to do with the panel? So, but why we try to solve with blockchain is basically to provide that transparent value chain. I mean, if it generates electricity, it's recorded on the blockchain. If you consume the electricity, it's recorded on the blockchain. And we can see that's one. I mean, you can use it and say you're not going to pay, but then there's probably just a kill switch somewhere, and then we just disconnect you and take the system and install it for somebody else. But now back to the main problem, why I think it's not been solved. It's really at convincing people that this could potentially work. I mean, institutional investors in the sense of the word. But there are people that are passionate about social change, and they don't have a lot of money, but they can afford to invest their $100, their $200. And so it's really the crowd coming together to solve this specific problem rather than institutions. There is a place for institutions, but they'll probably step in when the market is formalized, when the market has a bit of structure. But in the early stages, when you're trying to build a market, it's really more like a peer-to-peer thing. I mean, that was the way we saw it then, but 2018 is it 2 or 3 years ago now? So maybe things have changed. And Josh, you asked if I've left power. Right now, I'm working at the Cardano Foundation, and what we're doing is providing the infrastructure on which this kind of solutions can run. So rather than me trying to build a solution to solve a specific problem, now Cardano Foundation is giving me an opportunity to empower people to solve problems at scale. So I'm trying to solve the energy problem. I am an individual solving one problem, but Cardano Foundation provides the rails on which someone like me can solve the energy problem, another person can solve the savings problem, somebody else can solve the identity problem, and all of that. So even though I'm not specifically working in power again now, I'm doing something that actually provides more scale to solve problems at scale, more impact, if I can put it that way. So tying it all back, it's really now providing the infrastructure to people to take multiple different kinds of problems and solve it in innovative ways using decentralized solutions.
You've somewhat already answered the question that I'm about to ask, but I'm curious, why do you think Cardano should matter to Africans Africans within the diaspora and beyond versus maybe any other blockchain that's out there? Because the reality is there is more than one blockchain. Cardano is not the only one. There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's all sorts of different blockchains out there. So my question to you is, why Cardano?
So I'm going to borrow the words of our CEO, Frederick Gregard. He said, trust is the only legal performance enhancing drug. And, to paraphrase, when you put trust in an environment, incredible things happen, problems are solved, progress is almost always guaranteed. And I think Cardano essentially introduces a trust system into an inherently trustless system. That way. So back to the energy problem, people don't trust solar energy, so they don't want to pay upfront for it. But we can say, we will show you that this system works, and then we'll show you that this person is using the electricity and this person is paying for it, and all of that. That's a measure of trust in the system, and it makes it easier for somebody to say, okay, I'm going to put some funds towards putting solar panels on this person's roof, and somebody else says, okay, I'm going to allow you to put it on my roof. If it doesn't work, at least everybody can see that it doesn't work, and then I don't have to pay for it, right? So that is essentially introducing trust into a trustless system. And so what the Cardano blockchain does is it allows us to introduce trust into systems. And the biggest problem in Africa is caused by opacity. Nobody knows what's going on. I mean, so many bureaucracies and processes and all that, which allows some of the things we talk about to happen, corruption and all of that, because everything is just layered and layered and layered. And in the decentralized ecosystem, everything is open. Everybody can see everything that is going on. And I think if you can build institutions around that, if you can build systems around that, if you can build processes around that, where everybody can see what's going on, then it's harder for people to perpetrate the corruption that they currently perpetrate. It's harder for people to be opaque. It's harder for, I don't want to speak about specifics, but you understand it's harder for you to inflate the size of a contract. It's harder for you to award contracts to your cronies and all of that. So for me, it's essentially having a system that introduces trust into our ecosystem and encourages us to do great things.
I wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Nah, James, you haven't said anything, so this is your time.
It's all good. No, keep going.
Okay, Victor, like we're talking about trust, and you work in a company that that we base everything on a trustless system, right? Which is really weird. So I know for you to have trust, there needs to be a certain level of knowledge, right? So in Africa, we know we don't have a lot of knowledge in regards to like financial education or technological education. Like most people that are actually tech enthusiasts like myself, we had to go extra mile to actually know these things for ourselves and do some studies. So it's not like it's just the knowledge is out there, it's available for everybody, it's free, right? But then there are no mechanisms or anything that actually push people towards like understanding things that matter for now and for the future of the nation, right? So if you want to actually, if someone needs to trust you, there needs to be a level of knowledge. And then we're talking about trusting a trustless system. How does that play in your mind?
Okay, so I mean, human beings all over the world, whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in Europe, North America, Asia, human beings are human beings. And essentially, introducing trust into trustless systems is saying you can actually transact with this person without having to trust that person.
Say that again, sir.
So essentially, like you can transact business with somebody without having to trust that person. That's essentially what it means when you introduce trust. So we want to do a business. I want to buy something from you, but it's okay, I need to pay you money, so you come to my house tomorrow and deliver some goods to me. So I pay you today, right? And then you come and deliver tomorrow. That means I trust that if I pay you today, you show up tomorrow and deliver the goods. But if I pay you and then you don't show up tomorrow, I mean, I'm at a loss. So if I want to do that business with you and I don't trust you, then it's harder for me to pay you upfront. So most likely I say, when you bring the goods tomorrow, I'll give you the money. And then if you trust me, you say, okay, I'll bring the goods tomorrow, and then you pay me. But if you don't trust me, you think, what if I bring the goods tomorrow and then you don't pay me? Do I have to go back with it? Who bears the cost of the transport and all of that? So we can't do business because we don't trust each other. Now introduce a trusted system. Trust into a trusted system essentially means that we bring a system, which is essentially in this case the Cardano blockchain, and say, let's create a smart contract and put in X dollars in the smart contract. And when you deliver the goods tomorrow, you don't even have to come, just ship the goods and input your tracking number that you have shipped the goods, and then the contract executes and release the funds to you. Now, it doesn't matter whether I trust you or not. It doesn't matter whether you trust me or not, because there is a system in place that in as much as you can see the transaction details and see that funded the escrow, and in as much as you can put in the tracking number that shows that you have sent me the goods, the payments will be released to you. And once I get the tracking information, it's sure that I will get my goods. Then we can do business. It doesn't matter whether I trust you or not. Now we can do business. So that's essentially what it means by introducing trust into trustless systems, because now you don't need to trust the other person to do what they say they will do, because there is something that ensures that they do what they say they will do. I don't know if that clears it up a bit.
What it sounds like to me is that in order to do transactions or to do business with one another, in order to remove that issue of, oh, I don't trust that person, is take out that whole trust aspect that you don't even need to trust anybody. This system is set up in a way that we don't have to trust each other, but what we say is going to be done will be done thanks to how this system is set up.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Trust is the problem. Remove that problem.
Yep.
I wish we had a ref right now because I think we're doing okay, but I can't really tell. Mercy, do you think they would have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I think that we are doing, the language is good. We are not going too technical, so that's great. But the question I want to ask you, Victor, is that you were saying that initially, when you were doing, trying to set up that, solving that energy problem, you did find that you had to do, you had to educate, go the education way. So what I want to find out that, right now you are saying that, the Cardano Foundation is sort of equipping to build that capacity where, some of these innovations can go ahead. Are you finding that we still need to, educate, we still need to explain instead of actually just going ahead and just doing whatever we need to do?
That's actually a very good question. So do we just come in and build solutions, or do we come in and educate people and then build solutions? And I think it's really, the Cardano community is actually a very large community. We have people that are educators, we have people that are innovators, we have people doing a whole lot of different stuff. And what the Cardano Foundation is saying is, somebody says, I actually want to educate the community about this, and then the person comes forward and brings out an innovation for educating the community. So what's the way education is currently being done? We do meetups, we go and talk to people and all of that. But is there a better way to do it? Is there a way to actually simplify it for people? What Afrofinland is doing is amazing. Taking, making the crypto nonsense make sense. This is actually an innovation. People are going to come up with all sorts of things. How do we support them? How do we make it easier for them to do what they're doing? How do we help them scale? That's one of the things the Cardano Foundation does. And then some people say, I just want to build solutions. Maybe they will need to educate their market. I mean, it's part of it. Airbnb has to educate their market. Everybody's going to, at a point, need to educate their market. But if it's not their core business, they probably won't focus so much on educating their core business rather than building the product. So the challenges we faced when I was trying to run the startup was, we were just us. We didn't have no Cardano Foundation at our back. We were going to run out of money educating a market without really solving a problem. But now there is the Cardano Foundation for people building within the Cardano ecosystem. So you can be sure that while you're building, somebody else is educating. While you're educating, somebody else is building. And if you say you want to do the both together and you find an innovative way to do the both, come on, bring it on. Do the both together. Do you understand? So I think it's not really a chicken and egg problem, like, oh, do we educate first and then we build? I think it can happen concurrently. There are some people that already understand what blockchain can do, what crypto can do. Can we build solutions for them that they can start using today? There are some people that have no idea what blockchain crypto is. Yeah, we're going to have some people that start educating them, telling them what it could do. And then at the point we discover that we have a full market filled with people that actually educate. And I think another thing with crypto blockchain Cardano is this is, once somebody gets it, they become an advocate, they become an evangelist. They can't just keep quiet about it. They just start talking about it to everybody. And then before you know it, there is...
It's a gift and a curse.
So before you know it, there is a network effect. And then the whole place is filled with people that understand how it works. So that's my perspective on that.
Victor, on your point there, just a fun fact for you about me. I only got into the blockchain ecosystem in September. And just like you said, I can't stop talking about it. I find myself trying to hold myself back from trying to educate people on it because I don't want to come across too preachy or whatever it may be. But yeah, you're right. As soon as you do learn about it, I think the goodness in it, if you see the goodness in blockchain technology, you just feel like you need to spread it like gospel to everybody because it can benefit every single person on this planet.
Absolutely. You're right, man.
I had a similar experience last night. I had a neighbor of mine who I was sitting on his porch over the summer, and I was telling him, "Hey, man, like, I know, you don't like talking about this stuff all the time, but maybe you want to know about this as an investment, just so you know, here it is." And he took a few months to kind of think about it and read about it, and finally he's in, and he's out there. He's talking to more people than I am in town right now, just kind of talking it up. And he called me up last night. He goes, I really had to sit and like really think about what a blockchain is. And it took a while. Oh man, but now that I've got, and just this exactly what you're saying, Victor, right? And people have to chew on it and make it their own. But once they do,
absolutely,
what happens? And you got here because of a problem-centric approach, right? You already said, like, you had a problem, you were thinking about solving it, it got you to this point, and then, oh shoot, you found out that more people need to learn about this before we can actually solve these problems.
Exactly.
So one of my questions for you is...
I think Mercy wanted to add a question, a follow-on question.
I did, yeah. Thanks, James. I'll be quick. Right. So, Victor, what I wanted to ask is that, like I like your answer in terms of solution, educate. Like one doesn't come before the other. It's like, okay, let's all do, let's do what everybody does their part, and it sort of comes together beautifully. So, I actually, I'm a community member, and I don't know if you've heard of Project Catalyst. So I have, I'm trying to set up West Africa Decentralized Alliance, and there's a whole staff that we are thinking of doing. Josh is also setting up ABCD, in terms of training developers and going forward with that. So one thing that I've noticed, and I'm just trying to bring some people on board, right, in Ghana, right on the ground, and what they are saying is that they need, and I think that is an African thing. We need something that we can feel, touch, taste, something, you go to somebody's office and they want, like you need to leave something behind. So lately I've been thinking of things like brochures, like posters and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's something that Josh has been thinking about as well. But is this something, in terms of capacity building from the foundation, is that, first of all, is this something that you have thought of? Is that an experience that you've had in terms of education and marketing? And what's the capacity to sort of, support people like us? Whilst we are thinking of solutions, we also, at least we have the resources to, do the education and the marketing, I would say.
All right, thank you for that question as well. I mean, it's nice that you mentioned Project Catalyst, because I mean, the newsletter, you guys should watch out for it anyways, but you've probably seen the news about Project Catalyst, the Fund 3. It's a $500,000 fund, so for innovators, for the community, for developers, everybody. And if you have a nice idea like this, oh, we should print pictures and all of that, it's something you can enter into Project Catalyst and all that. But that's on the one side. On the other side, I think you guys have heard about Cardano Ops. So while I was preparing for this, I had a conversation with our CEO, Frederick Regada, and he actually, gave me the permission to, like mention it briefly that we're actually building out a Cardano of Lagos. It's yeah.
Oh, Cardano
Hubs. On my face right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's in the work, but I mean, I can mention that at this point, and some of these things, some of these things you're talking about, like brochures and all of that, like supporting the local community to take it in and talk about it to the neighborhoods and talk about it in their friends and their places of work and all of that are some of the things that we'll be doing. And maybe you're going to come up with Cardano of Accra, or somebody is going to come up with Cardano of Dakar, or somebody's going to come up with Cardano of Johannesburg and all of that. And we will support in all ways that we can support. So now it's not just you an individual trying to take it. It's actually within a framework that supports you, that enables you to do that. I don't know if that, I mean, there's still a lot of things in the works and all of that, but you should be excited about what 2021 holds for our ecosystem.
Amen. I think I'll give it to James, and then maybe later on we can come back.
No, stay on that one, because this is a passion of mine, is following through with these kind of local hub ideas.
Yeah. So in terms of the hub idea, I know you did say that it's still early days, but like, who is funding? Is it different from the Catalyst funding stuff? Is this coming straight from the foundation? Like, do you have any more information on that?
So the Project Catalyst is really an individual, a group of people coming together and say, we have an idea for, enhancing, driving the adoption of Cardano. Maybe we want to build a solution, we want to drive marketing or stuff like that. That's Project Catalyst, excuse me. The Cardano Orb in cities is more like an approach that empowers people living or residing, or people interested in, they may not necessarily live, in building out the awareness and adoption of Cardano in a specific community. So whereas you have to take your proposal to Project Catalyst and then go through the approval and voting and funding, the Cardano Orb in those cities exists to empower people in the cities to take it out. I don't know, maybe there will be a process where you have to submit a proposal and all of that, but it's more like, it's more like an urban spoke model where it enables people to do different things within their community directly, leveraging what's available on the Cardano Foundation, building stuff out, educating stuff, accessing materials. I mean, there's a whole lot of done for you content coming up as well that you can take, and then you're a blogger, and then you can put it in your, I mean, it's already written, and then you can put it in your own words, reframe it, rearrange it, turn it into a video, turn it into an infographic and all of that. I mean, you just got to be excited about what 2021 holds for this ecosystem. It's going to be amazing. So we are going all out to give everybody all the support they need to drive the adoption of Cardano within their ecosystem. So, like I said, done for you content where you just take bits of it. So like it's a single piece of done for you content, but 10, 20 people can take it and come up with 20 different things just from the piece of done for you content, because we're actually creating it for creators who then come out and take this and then build it out for their audiences, depending on who the audiences are and what they want to sound like and how they want, the tone of voice and all of that for different audiences. And all of these, are all tied in together within what we're trying to do with the different Cardano Orbs approaches. Our developer portal is already ongoing. You probably have heard that, and that's also going to do a whole lot in supporting builders that actually want to build stuff on the Cardano Foundation. So whether you are a technical or non-technical person, there is a way for you to get the support you need from the Cardano Foundation and drive the adoption of Cardano.
That's amazing. on that note then, so if you are an individual who, I'm going to say for somebody who doesn't have much blockchain technology knowledge, but you want to somehow get involved and start solving problems within your community using blockchain, using what Cardano have to offer right now, how could somebody like that get involved right now? What would be your advice to them?
I mean, you want to get involved. There's a whole lot of ways to get involved. The forum it's made up of very helpful people. I mean, you ask a question and people are chipping in and trying to answer those questions. We have the Cardano ambassadors who are quite helpful, providing answers and all of that. I mean, Cardano is an open source community. It's an open community. Just was it 2 days ago, we gave out a call for improvement for Stakepool School, asking the community to come in and help us improve the resources available on Stakepool School, so that even other people that want to build Stakepool can go through the resources. And maybe we created it in-house from a perspective, but if the community helps us to make it better, then it's much more better for the community. So if you want to get involved in Cardano, the doors are wide open for you. If you have something specific, reach out, send us an email, reach out via our social media, and just ask on the forum. There is always somebody available to respond to you and make it happen. But obviously, as well, in 2021, we are going all the way out more to make sure that we actually make it easier to bring in people that are not currently in the crypto blockchain space, people who are in different and new audiences. We're actually trying to see how we could bring them in. And some of the content we've planned out for this year in the marketing department are actually content. They are not your everyday crypto blockchain content. They are types of content that goes into new communities, into new audiences, let me put it that way, and tells them about what blockchain can do. You probably saw the blog post posted, was it on Wednesday, about the role of blockchain in financial inclusion and emerging economies. It's not really for the crypto or blockchain audience. It's more for people interested in financial inclusion, but that's a piece of content that reaches out and connects to them. And then we have a whole lot of content on digital ID and all sorts of things for different types of audiences. So right now we are stretching beyond the current community and audience that we have into new communities and audiences as part of our work to, as a Cardano Foundation, to drive the adoption of Cardano. So we are stepping out into new audiences, new communities, and telling them about what Cardano can do. And again, we are empowering people within the community to step out as well into their own communities and tell the world what Cardano can do.
So would I be right in saying that as an individual, if you have an idea, if you have a problem in your community and you're trying to find backend to help you solve this, to fix this issue, just put yourself out there, hop into the forums, at people on Twitter, whatever it may take, and
absolutely,
the Cardano community will pop up and give you a hand.
Absolutely.
With that.
Absolutely. The Cardano community has been amazing. People are very helpful, and just ask, and help is available, if I can put it that way.
It's amazing. Guys, we've hit the 45-minute mark. Do you want to wrap it up here, or will we continue?
I think we should wrap it up and have Victor back like once every 3 months or so. That was awesome. It's so good having you here.
Thanks, man. That would be nice. It's amazing talking to you guys as well. It's nice. Insightful questions all around. I really wish Darlington was on board, and that way we could know whether we're actually making this crypto nonsense make sense or not. But hopefully, I think we try to do some good stuff.
So Josh is helping Darlington build a blockchain-based business right now. So they're gonna need to hit you up for advice about how you explain blockchain to people. So you're gonna have all these photographers calling you up, right? Saying, wait, how does this work again?
Victor, brace yourself. I'm going to be in touch because I'm actually somebody who works within marketing in some capacities. And as I told you, I came into the blockchain ecosystem back in September. And now I'm just trying to find, I guess, my space within this ecosystem and seeing where I can apply my skills and knowledge. And to hear your story of how far you've came, and now you're working with the Cardano Foundation, you know, that's, to me, that's huge, bro. I don't know if you know that, but that's massive.
It is huge. I know it. It is huge.
But you've showed me that like a goal like that is possible. It's possible for somebody who maybe doesn't know much about blockchain or whatever. Maybe it's just about, I guess, putting yourself out there and just, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, latch onto it, but also just do what you do and keep an eye out for what opportunities could pop up, because you never know what opportunity could pop up, like ending up working for one of the most incredible blockchains that are on our planet right now. You know, that's huge.
I mean, you know, I saw that opening and I was like, no, this is my opportunity. Like, I was made for this. I need to do this, you know. You know, but I think it's all about, you know, constantly improving yourself, improving your crafts, and just keeping a positive attitude to life. You know, I always say that talent is evenly distributed all over the world. Opportunity is what is not evenly distributed. So it doesn't matter whether you live in Lagos or you live in Johannesburg or Taipei or wherever. But, you know, there are people who can do stuff in different parts of the world. And Cardano Foundation, Cardano blockchain itself as a protocol is decentralizing opportunities, making it open, making it possible for people to build stuff, you know, to step up and do stuff. So maybe you're going to get like a role that allows you to do this. Maybe you're going to build something. Maybe you're going to team up with some guys to build something. Who knows? But the most important thing is just to keep on pushing the message of decentralization.
So I'm going to wrap it up here and say thank you very much to Victor for coming on to the Afrofin Lab today. I hope we helped you guys make this crypto nonsense make sense. If you are watching this on YouTube, please follow us. Please subscribe and follow us on Instagram at the Afrofin Lab. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and we will see you next week.